rap songs, rap videos, getting record deals, getting money, and it was a very unique time. But drill rap, it also created many issues in the black community, especially within the South Side, East Side of Chicago. And to discuss some of these issues, I brought with me a brother, my brother Abir. The streets may know him by the name D.ROSE.
All right, so this is very cool, man, because when drill rap first came out, it came out of the city of Chicago. I was 21 years old at the time. And the reason why I became interested in it wasn't because I was a fan of the music, but because of the socio dynamics and the social influence that it had over the youth at the time. I've got a bunch of nephews, and they were of age at that time. They were prime for drill. They were teenagers. They loved drill music, and I just saw the impact of it. Now, D.ROSE is somebody who is notorious. He's one of the first people in the Chicago drill rap scenes that actually became known as a killer. This video that you see right here, the story of Abir D.ROSE Sardine, it's a documentary about his street life. It's about people that he killed. It's about people he allegedly killed, whatever. Basically, he became famous because Chief Keef, who's a rapper that was the first one to blow up out of Chicago, and after he blew up, it was like a domino effect. Everybody else was able to become successful rappers because Chief Keef opened the doors for Chicago. He opened the doors for the whole gangbanger rapper dynamic. And after that, now it's normal to see gangbangers rap. But at that point in time, that was something different. It was weird to see these young teenagers holding guns in videos, threatening to kill their opposition on the other side of town or the other side of the neighborhood. And it was odd at the time, but it caught on. It made America more violent, if you ask me, because it started conditioning the kids through rap music that you need to be a gangbanger. You need to kill people. That's fashionable. And now on YouTube, you can actually watch documentaries about people from the drill scene. They're not rappers. They were regular gang members. And you can watch documentaries such as this that actually discuss their alleged homicides.
Just because people used to come through shooting us every day.
And now I do understand this is journalism, but at the end of the day, it's crazy.
Motown member.
That's D.ROSE right there. I'm going to point to him. Oh, damn, that wasn't him. He was on the left.
D.ROSE, as he also was called, is a former Black P. Stone from Motown. His father was a big Motown member. F-44 to shoot up Princeton Mob City. He also rode with THF-44 to shoot up Princeton Mob, and was involved in the war between Motown and 50 Strong. Around 2011, Poo Poo from SMG rode with D.ROSE several times and learned him how to do hits. Pulled the trigger. The spike, and he was later pronounced dead. Lurking through Brick Squad territory, they finally spotted Lil JoJo, who reported on the retaliation for Lil Mark coming against 600.
All right, basically, it's a documentary about D.ROSE. It talks about alleged homicides that he was responsible for. Now, he's doing like 50 years in prison or something like that. He's accused of murdering a young kid, a 14-year-old named Vendrell. Excuse me, I don't mean to mispronounce his name. I actually forgot if it's Vendrell or Vondrell, but he's accused of killing a 14-year-old. And what's interesting to me is most of the content about D.ROSE on the internet is of his alleged homicides, his ties to famous rappers, his ties to his gang. That's what people are interested in. But I noticed that this interview of D.ROSE, which is recent, and it's of him in prison speaking positively. He's talking about the fact that he was programmed. He's talking about the fact that he was conditioned to be a gang member by outside forces. And he didn't realize it until it was too late. Now he has a life. Basically, he's going to spend the majority of his life or all of his life in prison. And unfortunately, he came to an epiphany while he was behind bars that he was programmed and he was conditioned to live a life of violence and to be genocidal. But it's interesting that this video right here doesn't even come across, even in this documentary that I just showed you, that has like 1 million views, but they don't even put this content in there of D.ROSE speaking positively. Now, D.ROSE in this interview is a new D.ROSE. He's been in prison for 10 years now, and he's almost 30. At the time when he was in the streets, he was a teenager. He got locked up at like a young age, 18, 19. So he's almost 30, and he's had time to think. He's had time to reflect, and he's not the same person he was. But I think it's interesting that nobody's talking about this. Every time his name comes up on the internet, it's always a documentary about him being a murderer. They never show the clip of him embracing his Islamic side, his religious side, his Muslim side, his peaceful side, his community activism side, and his repentful side. You understand?
My brother Abir, you were constantly shouted out in different rap songs, from Chief Keef to 600 Breezy, our brother Lil Durk. What would you want, for, not only these brothers, but, brothers in Chicago and hoods across the United States of America? What would you want them to get and to learn from this interview?
Yeah, I want them to take from it that, bro, Israelites, we stuck in a rut a little bit. Somehow people stuck in a rut, and we just gotta help more than we hurt. Just like I was just saying about what we rap about, like we gon' I feel we can and we will evolve and like just start rapping about so many violences to our people. You feel me? And like become like chance to rap.
Go check the interview out at this channel. Peace to them, peace to that God, peace to that man. But basically what he was saying is, hey man, we need to change the way that we change the content. We're rapping about violence, and all that's doing is programming the youth to join gangs. We're creating an assembly line. We're taking these youth's minds and putting it on the assembly line and just transplanting violence in it, and we're ruining their lives. That's basically what he's saying. But nobody's talking about that. Everybody's always talking about D.ROSE when he was a teenager, when he was young, when he was free, when he was in society, running amok. Nobody's talking about the fact that D.ROSE is actually calling an end to violence. He's telling people from jail, from prison, why we need to change we're stuck in a rut. We need to stop rapping about violence. We need to stop promoting violence. And he was the epitome of violence. They were shouting him out. I'm gonna get D.ROSE, boy. He gonna get you, boy. He was the first famous Chicago gang member to be shouted out. He wasn't a rapper. He wasn't famous. He was just a dude that was slinging iron, shooting his gun, and he got shouted out when he was a teenager, and that made him famous. And now he's telling everybody stop the violence, but nobody's reposting that. It's crazy, man. It's like they want that other side of D.ROSE out there. They don't want the repentful, the side of him that wants forgiveness. They don't want that out. Peace.